look at your team, obviously we have
Okay, we'll do that. We'll end on a sad note.
We have preferences, right? Everybody watching this, we all have preferences. Let's just take a quick look at each other's teams. You know,
no.
He has a team. I have a team. If you have a team, this will be where you type in the comments, hey, take a look at my team more in depth. Take a look at this player, whatever you want. Let us know. We're going to look at it. Right now we're going to look at Boston. That's his team.
Let's start off sad first. Good idea. So, okay. Ugh. All right. I hate Don Sweeney. We have 4.7 in projected cap space, which, by the way, is not true because we have to still sign Bergeron. I don't know if Krejci's coming back. I don't know about that, but we'll see. And we still have to sign Pavel Zacha. So, don't know where that money's going to come from, but let's get right into it. David Pasternak for $6.66 million. He's going to be looking for a raise in this next season, right? Mm-hmm. We'll see how that pans out. I think you got Brad Marchand at 6.1, very underpaid in my opinion. You got Taylor Hall, $6 million. You have Charlie Coyle, 5.25, completely overpaid. Jake DeBrusk, $4 million, a little rich for me, but whatever. Nick Foligno, $3.8 million, makes me sad every day. Craig Smith, 3.1, which for his production's fine. Nosk, 1.75, fine with that. Wagner, he's currently sitting in the AHL, 1.3, so that's overpay. Trent Frederick, first round pick. Boston didn't pan out, no surprise. And Oscar Seen, he's just he actually looked like a solid bottom six guy if he was to ever become anything. Mm-hmm. And then you got Pavel Zacha you need to sign, he's one of these players, Pavel Zacha, that when you watch him play, you just see so much potential, but he's never been able to click. Never been able to click. So maybe a chance there to become a top six center. Defense, you got Charlie McAvoy, 9.5. I like Charlie a lot. I like Hampus Lindholm a lot for 6.5. Mm-hmm. Brandon Carlo, to be fair to him, when he's not hurt, is a very effective defenseman. 4.1 I'm fine with. Matt Grzelcyk can't stay healthy, so 3.6 I think is high. Forberg at 3. He's a bottom two pair in my opinion, a little rich. Mike Riley, $3 million, way too rich. Jacob Zorbril. This is okay. So when the Bruins picked 13th, 14th, and 15th, it was Shenison, DeBrusk, and Zorbril. Now DeBrusk has finally come into his own. Shenison will never be in the NHL. He just won't. No. Jacob Zorbril was finally bucking that trend last season from those draft picks that oh my god, only one made the NHL and he's kind of mediocre. Zorbril, when he was healthy last season, was really good. Very good puck mover, big body, pretty young, cheap. If he's healthy, and that's the thing with these defensemen, if they're healthy, I think Zorbril can be a top 4 guy because I like a lot of the skills he has. I am at fault of this at time. I think we get a little too harsh on these prospects, and we expect them to immediately jump the NHL. He just needed longer to learn and kind of learn the pro game, right? And especially defense, one of the hardest positions next to goaltending in the NHL to learn. Defensemen usually take a little bit longer to develop. So, for a guy like Jacob Zorbril, I think he can become, something of a pretty nice piece. Goaltending, Connor Clifton, he's a bottom 2 pairing. He's $1 million. I'm fine with that. He's okay. I know. He was a forward that was converted a defenseman that I think should be converted back to a forward, in my opinion. But
he's more forward on the ice. Got it.
Yeah. So you have Linus Ullmark, age 28, making $5 million for the next 3 seasons, and then you have Jeremy Swayman, who was a stud last year. He's going to be making $925,000, and then he becomes an RFA. I think Jeremy Swayman is the key to what this Bruins team does. If he keeps developing on his fucking trajectory, Bruins are going to be a wild card team. Mm-hmm. The problem I have, look at this roster. You have Pasternak, Marchand, and Hall, who I think could be top line wings on any team, right? I think Taylor Hall was underappreciated last season because with between him and Pasta, when they finally got paired together between Haula, and this isn't not to knock Haula, if you got them a true second line center, I think the production would have been far greater. I think Taylor Hall is a great playmaker. Sometimes I wish he would shoot a bit more, but I think he's a very good player. I think he's a top line wing. This is where you run into the problem with the Boston Bruins construction of their roster. Charlie Coyle is a third line center. Why are we paying him $5.25? Is it just because he's from Weymouth, Massachusetts? Because if so, that's stupid.
That's a hometown bonus.
Yeah, that's the hometown bonus. And then Jake DeBrusk. Is he truly that good? Could he get 30 goals? He produced this amount this season? Was it because of him finally coming to his own, or was it because he was playing on a line with Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand? I mean, what is the thing here? Because you know what? I'm going to get into it because it kind of pisses me off. I think with Jake DeBrusk, it's effort. It's effort. What he wants to do that week, that's what he decides to do. Mm-hmm. And Jake DeBrusk this past season, he had 25 goals, 17 assists, 42 points, in 77 games played. Is that $4 million? No. Okay, thank you. So, DeBrusk, and the Boston fan base is like, oh, he can be a 30-goal scorer, he can be a 30-goal. You can't keep saying he can be if he's never done it, right? And I think that he's going to be going into his 6th year. They had to sign him, I guess, in some, because you don't want to just lose him for nothing, right? Yeah. But I don't see anything there with DeBrusk that proves to me he can produce this on his own. He needs to be hand-fed. Like Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron can bump up his stats. DeBrusk, to me, isn't a good finisher. I've watched him live. I watched all the Bruins games. He sucks at finishing. If it's wide open, he'll bury it. But, I've seen him hit far more glass than ever net in my life. And I don't think he has that finishing touch. I think he's a tweeter, right? I think he's a good second line to a good third line guy. I don't think he's a top line guy. I think only with elite players like Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron, that's the only place he would succeed on a top line. And that kind of comes into my problem with this roster construction, right? Pavel Zacha's not even signed. He's just not. You have currently on roster signed for centers Charlie Coyle, Tomas Nosek, Trent Frederick, and that's it. You have no depth. And this comes down to a lot of bad Boston Bruins drafting by Don Sweeney and not having these assets develop. I mean, even the draft pick they had a few years ago, like Beecher, who's going to be out of camp trying to make it, they drafted him as a center, but he wasn't that great at Michigan. So it's I feel like a lot of the Bruins' problem comes from buddy, the buddy system, where this guy played for the Bruins, this guy played here, I know this guy, this guy's dating my sister, I'm gonna sign him to, it's just they don't go with talent evaluation, right. And I think quite frankly, I think we actually have the wing talent, but Patrice Bergeron's getting older, and is Patrice Bergeron actually gonna come back? I mean,
that's a tough one, yeah.
Because they said reports have said he's coming back, but how much of a discount do you want a guy who just won a Selke? How much of a discount is he going to take? Mm-hmm. I mean, are you going to disrespect him and say, "Oh, here's a couple million," or what you should do, in my opinion, cut some of the fat off of this roster? Why does Nick Foligno have a no movement clause, a no trade clause? What? What? You signed this man for 3.8. Don, what were you smoking, crack? And then Charlie Coyle, I get it. He's from Weymouth, Massachusetts. He's from the Boston area. Listen, I don't give a fuck if he was born in the fucking ice rink itself. He's overpaid. And the sad part is, right, I like Charlie Coyle's game a lot. I think he's a very effective center. He's just overpaid. It's Marchand and Pasternak are underpaid. Hall, I think, appropriate to what he's at. It's weird with the Bruins. They'll either underpay you or overpay you. There's no in between.
No in between.
Besides Hall, I mean, Charlie Coyle should probably be making $3 million. DeBrusk should be making 2. I mean, Foligno should be making league minimum for how bad he played last year. I mean, Craig Smith, around 2 to 3 million, I can digest. No sick, that's fine. Chris Wagner was in the AHL last season for most of it. I mean, I don't know, man. I just
going to Jake DeBrusk, right? I see what you're talking about. On his point totals per season and everything, whatnot. You know, starts off his career 43 points. You're like, oh man, first season, 70 games, 43 points. 16 goals, 27 assists. You're like, oh my God, yeah, maybe it's something special. And the next year you get 68 games, 42 points, something special, yeah. Then you have 65 games, 35. It was just an off year, right? And then you have the COVID season and whatnot, 41 games, 14 points. That's kind of, yeah, it's kind of bad. Then you had last year, where he looks like he's kind of coming back to what he was before. Now, my question to you is, as you see some of these elite superstars maturing now closer to the age of 26, 27, as a Boston Bruins fan, or even if you were in management, would you expect this to be the year where he polishes off the dirt and says, this is what I am, and hopefully be at least a shell of what you've been expecting?
I mean, if you think that, I want to know what drugs you're taking, and I want to ingest them myself.
I'll send you my medication list later.
So they're very strong. I mean, this is coming from somebody that watches him night in, night out. Jake DeBrusk's motor at times can be very good. So when Jake DeBrusk decides to skate, he's good. He's a solid player. I don't think he has the finishing or the shot that an elite winger has. I don't think he has the vision that an elite winger has. The biggest attribute that DeBrusk has, he's average to above average on most things, right? Okay. His greatest attribute is his hustle. When he has his legs moving, he's a pretty fast player. He can create opportunities. When he's buzzing around on the cycle, that's when he's most effective. And what these stats don't show, and I'm actually going to try to find them, is that a lot of those stats came from when he was bumped up to the first line. He just wasn't that guy, in my opinion. I don't think he'll ever be that guy that kind of really turns it on. And gotcha. I think he's going to be one of these guys that's just quite frankly
mediocre throughout the league and probably
an average, above average player. Max Domi type player. Just an average NHLer. Not bad, but are you looking at him?
About,
nothing to write home about. He's just a very mediocre player.
Gotcha. Okay, Tyler Hall, I think his career has been a bad, run of situations. He's always ended up on the wrong line, in the wrong situation, and then when he does produce, he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. I like Hall. I've always actually liked Hall as a player.
Look at it. He had 61 points last season on 81 games. That's solid. But the problem with Hall, outside that one horrendous part with Buffalo, if you look at it, injuries, durability. Outside of this year with the Devils, where he just was tearing up the world, he's around a point per game player, or a little bit below that. And I think he's a very good player. I think with Boston, he played that's second most in the season, 81. He had 20 goals, 41 assists for 61 points. And I think if you watched him play, you would have appreciated his two-way game.
Yeah.
But it's just Boston sucks at just picking the good guys, the right guys to fit in the system. Because Eric Hall had a career year. But you give anyone, Taylor Hall and David Pasternak, I think me or you could get 40 points.
Put me at center. I'll be all right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's I think I don't know. I think there's a lot of talent on this roster.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, the center is our weakest position, and even Patrice Bergeron signs. Hopefully we sign Pavel Zacha, but am I feeling comfortable with Pavel Zacha as the number 2 center or Charlie Coyle? No, because I think Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha are the same type of player. I think Pavel Zacha is faster and has a little bit more talent, but I think they're very similar. But Charlie Coyle's strength is his puck possession game. Mm-hmm. That's the strength of him. He's a big body, big puck control, but he doesn't have the finishing that a lot you would want to see in a top 6 guy. And I think Pavel Zacha, there's always been that untapped potential. Does he reach that with Boston? I don't think so. So, I think the Bruins will be a wild card team to Marchand is going to be out. I think McAvoy is going to be out. I think there's a few key players that are going to be out for us at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I read that.
I don't think the Bruins are going to make the playoffs this season. I don't think it's going to be a good season. So, but hopefully the youth develops, and maybe I'm proven wrong. So, let's get into. Oh wait! Before I switch,
Yep.
There is one player that I hope makes the team this year. It is this man. Fabian Lysell. Fabian Lysell is a stud. He played for the Vancouver Giants, I believe, and he absolutely tore it up. Let me actually pull up his statistics, because I think this guy has a chance to be an elite level player. I don't say that often with some of these guys, but this guy looked truly impressive. So he's from Sweden, so that's a good thing. He is 19 years old, 5'10", 176 pounds, and let's just get into it. So for this past year, for the Vancouver Giants, he had, in 53 games played, 22 goals, 40 assists for 62 points. Very good season. 12 playoff games, he had 4 goals, 17 assists for 21 points. That's a very good season. I mean, I think Lysell, the big thing with Lysell is if you look at the highlights, it's crazy. People have said on a very bad, I don't think bad, but I think on a very kind of average Vancouver Giants team,
he stood out.
Yeah. That's what I was told, and Vancouver Giants fans, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But it just, I think with Lysell, there's just so much talent there that it's kind of nasty. I'm gonna do something that we haven't done on this show yet, but we're gonna do it for the Gipper here. We're gonna go pace go. We're gonna show some highlights.
Not out. Thorpe centered it. Lysell point blank scores.
Okay, first of all, that announcer needs to be replaced. My man said point blank. He was on at the top of the between the 2 circles. That was not point blank.
The Giants sent it ahead. Lysell, right circle, shoots. He scores.
Well, he had a little bit more enthusiasm there.
And it is a 3-1 game.
Yeah. I think we're going to comment the commentators before we comment him.
His skating's really good, and his playmaking is as well.
Okay. He knows where to go, it looks like. He just looks like he knows where to go to get the puck and put it in the net. So he kind of looks like what you expect to see from DeBrusque.
Yes. But he has he has a good nose. He has a very good nose for where to be, but also I hope it shows it in this highlights. He has really good hands. He's a really smooth playmaker. And look at that forecheck. Look at this.
It was sent in. Ostapchuk's going to get it. Only his 2nd goal of the season.
Giants hold it in. Lankow in the middle. Lysell steals, scores.
I
He
wish
has
I
a-
pulled up.
He has a nose
knack
for the goal. Yeah, he has a nose for the goal, man. He's a forechecker. How you call it? He uses his speed. He kind of knows when to turn it up and to turn it on. See, like he just knows where to be, where the puck is gonna go. That's nice. That's nice to see. When you have a player like that, you want to develop him in all the other games and leave that part alone, because if you try to do anything to that part, they can lose it.
Absolutely. Like, I think there's a lot of potential here for Lysell, and I think he's impressed in camp. Now, I think that's enough of that for now. But like, I think that like, quite frankly, I think with Lysell, what I liked a lot about from some of his camp and some of his games I've even watched, he just looked like a very, very solid hockey player. And that's what we need here in Boston. We need more guys that are going to kind of produce at an elite level. We need something in the development pool, and that's the one thing where Sweeney has failed terribly. He's traded away a lot of our draft picks chasing a cup, where I think if we kept some of those draft picks, maybe we'd have a better pool to pull from. But I think regardless, I think Fabian Lysell could be a top 6 winger in the NHL. I like a lot what I see. So I just wanted to touch upon that before we completely left my team. So we left it on somewhat of a positive note.